Am I the asshole for telling all my family that if I'm babysitting there are no rules? My family tends to stick me, F18, with my nieces and nephews when we get together.
I am also the go-to for babysitting. I do not get paid for this because since my siblings watched me when I was little I owe them.
I don't really mind.
I love all the kids and they are well behaved and polite. With me at least because I don't put up with their shit. I established dominance early with all of them. I also have no shits to give when it comes to the rules regarding watching them. I would never allow them to get hurt or anything. I just won't follow a huge list of rules.
If you want your kid to eat vegan, then you better bring a vegan meal for them.
Otherwise they get pizza. Or Dino nuggets. Or hot dogs.
If they aren't allowed to watch woke movies or TV, then it's up to you to provide a TV and media because I'm putting on Frozen or something. My parents keep telling me that I have to follow the rules when I'm babysitting. I just keep asking why. What's the worst anyone can do to me? Take away my free babysitting? Oh, poor me? We are in Jasper right now and it's been hot as balls.
So I took the kiddos cliff jumping at Horseshoe Lake. I brought them back wet and filthy.
Everyone told me that I was being a shit babysitter.
I offered a full refund.
Then I went and got a beer with some friends I made at the lake.
I have a full scholarship.
When I turned 18, I also got a small inheritance.
It's enough that I won't have to work for spending money during my university years and put a down payment on a house.
I'll probably leave it though.
I literally do not need financial help from my family.
So they have no hold over me.
My sibling and I all got the exact same inheritance.
Except I was only 3 when my grandmother passed away, so it's been collecting compound interest for almost 20 years. My trust fund is about 4 times what my siblings each got. My family thinks I'm being an entitled ass, but they also won't pay me.
I am more than willing to follow any rule I am paid to follow. Not the asshole. I do not get paid for this because since my siblings watched me when I was little I owe them. No, you don't get paid because they are entitled. They did this for your parents, not you. You owe them nothing for looking after you, on a technicality, in a sense.
Nothing you have mentioned I would consider over the top, except maybe the cliff jumping depending on ages and height?
Your situation with finances aside, if they want a list of rules, they can pay someone to follow them. Not the asshole. I offered a full refund.
Then I went and got a beer. This made me laugh my ass off.
You've got everything sorted, don't actually owe them anything,
but are still gracious enough to babysit cause you love the kids.
AITA 100% on the parents to provide alternatives. Congrats on the scholarship. Not the asshole.
If anyone owes them free babysitting, it's your parents, not you. You are 18. You don't have to babysit, you have explained your parameters for babysitting, and by dropping off their kids they are agreeing.
Reconsider underage drinking, though. I established dominance with them all early.
OMG, I'm dying and I love you.
Not the asshole rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, rolling on the floor laughing, hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping. There are 2 kinds of help, good help and free help. Not the asshole. I do not get paid for this because since my siblings watched me when I was little I owe them.
You don't owe them anything for something that happened when you were a child and had no say in the matter. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
You're not being paid or even volunteering to look after these children.
You're not putting them in danger. They're having fun. They're fed and safe. If your family wants a fancy personalized babysitting service, they can hire a professional nanny. Am I the asshole for not telling my wife prior to lunch with family that I was paying?
My wife and I, along with my mother and aunt, went out to lunch today.
The previous day, my wife and I had agreed we would try to pay for our own share of the bill rather than having my mother or aunt get it. Last night, around 11 p.m., after my wife had gone to sleep, I had a conversation with my mother that I would just grab the check rather than mess around and fight over the bill.
I did forget to mention this to my wife. I work overnights and had just started my shift, and by the end I had forgotten. So anyway, at lunch today when the check came, they asked if we wanted separate checks or all on one. I responded, all on one is fine. Then my wife said she had thought we were getting our own. I said we could just get it. This maybe happened over 2 or 3 seconds and I didn't think much of it.
After lunch she was mad because I put her in a position where she said she came off very inconsiderate with her comment about getting our own checks, and thus, others would be paying their own. I assured her no one thought that and it was not a big deal, but was still angry that I had put her in the position and she would have never said anything if I had told her prior to lunch. I apologized for not letting her know in advance, as I never want to hurt my wife's feelings, but I maintained it wasn't a big deal. No one thought that she was being inconsiderate at all. It's not about the money at all. Everyone at the table could easily afford treating everyone else. She is mad about the position I put her in.
I really don't think this is a big deal. The whole interaction was 3 seconds tops, and no one thought anything of it. TLDR. Am I the asshole for thinking my wife inquiring about paying our own way at lunch, and thus, others paying their own way, is not a big deal? Thanks.
Okay. So you just happened to talk to your mother and change the thing agreed to with your wife and then, you just forgot to mention it to her until you are all at the table.
Right.
Soft, you are the asshole for agreeing to something with your wife and then letting your mother convince you to do otherwise.
Be an adult, keep your word. You are the asshole.
I apologized for not letting her know in advance, as I never want to hurt my wife's feelings, but I maintained it wasn't a big deal. No one thought that she was being inconsiderate at all.
Apologize again.
Apologize for not telling her and putting her in that position.
The end.
Do not maintain that it was not a big deal and that no one thought she was being inconsiderate.
It is a lie. She thinks it is a big deal, and she thinks she sounded inconsiderate.
Is she no one? She is your wife. You love her. You put her in a false position due to lack of communication. Do better.
She is not asking a lot of you here. You agreed to one thing with your wife and did the exact opposite without talking to her. Left your wife out to dry and embarrassed her. You are the asshole.
You are the asshole because even when she said it, you could have said, "Oh, I forgot I said to Mum last night I'd grab it." Which would have explained away any confusion or concern about looking stingy for your wife.
You are the asshole for going back on what you agreed to do with her.
It's not a huge deal, unless wife and mom have a strained relationship, but you were in the wrong on this one.
You are the asshole.
If you literally just had not had a conversation with your wife the night prior saying you'd pay for your own portion only, I'd say not the asshole.
However, you literally went against the conversation you had with your wife and then didn't inform her. You are the asshole for that. Edited so you are the asshole is first as apparently order matters. Am I the asshole for making my brother-in-law homeless and embarrassing him? My sister's husband, Mark, left her and their 12-year-old son, Alex, about a year ago. His reason was that Alex was too difficult to deal with. I think Mark is a piece of crap who blames his son for everything.
Alex is a bit hyper and he does get into trouble for being distracted, impulsive, etc., but he's not a bad kid?
He loved his dad very much, but he's not stupid. He quickly figured out why his dad left and hates his guts now.
Not that I blame him.
He's been through a lot, and to put it very plainly, he thinks his mom might just up and leave one day too.
Because of this, there will be nights where he won't go to sleep unless his mom sits with him.
My sister would never abandon him like his dad did, but Alex is way too anxious.
He used to wake up several times throughout the night just to make sure she was still there.
He's loads better now, and my sister can go to bed in her room after putting him to sleep. Obviously, we don't tell anyone in our lives about this as it would be extremely embarrassing for Alex. I only know because I currently live with them. I'm helping around the house plus with Alex.
Unfortunately, Mark called a couple nights ago wanting to apologize, allegedly, and him and my sister had a pretty nasty fight about Alex, and my sister ended up telling Mark about the sleeping problem. Mark was pretty surprised, allegedly, but just hung up. I figured he actually felt some guilt towards his son for once, but I heard Alex going crazy in his room, and when I went to calm him down he just showed me his phone and he got exactly 3 texts from his dad telling him to man up, stop annoying his mom, and, if he didn't man up he'd tell all of Alex's friends.
I was appalled.
Second my sister came home, I marched straight to Mark's mom's house, where I knew Mark was staying, and chewed him out. I don't think I'm the asshole for that, he deserved it. But Mark's mom and his sisters and their husbands and kids were home, and I told them what Mark's been saying about his own child. I didn't have to, it's none of their business, but I knew they adore Alex and his mom was extremely angry. One of his sisters even went, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Now Mark's mom is giving him a week to find somewhere else to live, and he's yelling at me for essentially making him homeless and dragging his entire family into things.
He called me a dumb kid and said IDK what it feels like to be a parent and that he's human too. He admits that he could have been more decent with Alex too, so perhaps he's reflecting. I doubt it. I suppose I went too far regardless. Am I the asshole? For reference, I'm 21. My sister is 34, Mark is 35. Not the asshole. You didn't make him homeless, you just made him accountable. And to be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised at Mark's family's response.
Your sister is the one you should be asking, am I the asshole, though, as she's the one that's going to face the fallout. Alex is lucky to have aunts and uncles, including you, who stick up for him, and I hope he's able to see and engage with that love. Frankly, I hope your sister keeps Mark out of Alex's life, but that's not something you can really push for. It would need to be her, and/or Alex's, decision.
Tell him to man up. It's not very manly to be living with mommy. Not the asshole, his own words and actions are what's making him homeless. Not the asshole. I would have totally told him to man the fuck up. He's living with mommy. He ran out on his responsibility cause his 12-year-old is acting like a 12-year-old. He is 35, not an 18-year-old. He obviously doesn't give a shit how his kid feels. I would have not been nice, and I would also advise your sister to get screenshot of the text messages he sent to his son.
It's the best ammo to use with a judge stating he doesn't care about his kid. You held him accountable and now his parents don't want to deal with him since he fucked around and found out.
I think Mark should, checks notes. Man up. Stop annoying his mom. Or else you'll tell his family. Wait, you just did that. Alas.
Not the asshole. Alex deserves all the protection and love he can get from the family, and his dad is clearly an asshole. By the way, his mom should look into whether or not he's got ADHD or autism, and the kid could use some therapy to deal with this trauma.
Not the asshole. You were looking out for Alex. Mark obviously still needs to learn actions have consequences. Am I the asshole for asking my friend to pay me back for breaking an expensive skincare product?
A few days ago, I, F24, hosted a sleepover with two of my friends, both also 24. At the end of the night, while we were all taking off our makeup, I told them they could use any of the skincare products in my bathroom cabinet.
I'm really into skincare and have a variety of products, ranging from drugstore to high-end.
A few moments later, one of my friends, Jane, told me she accidentally dropped and broke one of my skincare products. It was the SK2 Patera Essence, which retails for about $134 CAD. The bottle is made of glass, so it's quite fragile. It was about 80% full since I had just bought it a couple of weeks earlier. She apologized and said she felt really bad. I told her it was fine, but when I mentioned the cost, she was shocked. I then asked if it would be possible for her to pay me back, not the full price but at least part of it. She seemed uncomfortable and said she didn't think she should have to pay since it was an accident and I had offered for her to use the products in the first place. Since then it's been awkward between us and we haven't spoken. Our other friend who was there isn't taking sides and is staying neutral about the whole situation. Am I the asshole for asking her to help cover the cost of the broken product? Edit. I wanted to thank everybody for their input. I didn't expect this story to get that much attention. I've been reading the responses you guys left, and just to clarify some things. I didn't tell my friends about the price beforehand because it would be kinda awkward to say, hey, you can use my stuff but be careful. It's really expensive. I trusted my friends to use my products responsibly. I keep all my skincare in the same cabinet regardless of cost, because I use them on a daily basis so it's just more practical. Jane is not wealthy, but she is financially stable. She admitted that she knew it was an expensive product, she's heard of the brand before, but didn't realize it was that expensive. This isn't a hill I want to die on, so I'm not going to press the issue further with Jane. I texted her to let her know she doesn't have to reimburse me. Thank you again for all the perspectives. Nah. It's awkward. She probably had no idea she was risking losing that kind of money by taking you up on your offer. You want to be compensated for out-of-ordinary breakage. In a perfect world, she would offer to pay or you would not want her to pay because when you let people use fragile things, you take a risk. Neither of you is an AH. Don't let something like this ruin a friendship. No assholes here legally. You're right that she broke something of yours, and it doesn't matter how expensive it was.
But I can also understand why she would balk at the cost. She might not have even touched it if she knew how expensive it was. For the sake of your friendship, I think you should find a way to let this go. Is this divide really worth $107, since that's about what 80% of it would come out to?
Maybe you could offer to have her pay you back in another way, like the next couple of times you guys go out together, she can cover you.
Next time, don't let any friends touch your skincare. When it's an open jar, it's not sanitary to share. And as you've discovered, friends don't always pay you back when they break things. I think the verdict depends on what happens next. No assholes here for asking. Just drop it now. Not the asshole how embarrassing for your friend to not understand basic manners. Offering to replace what she broke is the correct response. Anything else is tacky. You are the asshole. Sorry, but in the same chance you would have dropped the bottle, she did.
That's the price you pay when you tell people to do whatever they want with something you own.
It was not intentional, you know it was not intentional, you bear the cost of sharing it openly. Not because anyone is wrong, but just because that's how the bottle shattered.
A good friend would offer to replace or compensate in some other way, wouldn't they?